Welcome to Physician Heal Thyself, the podcast, empowering you to take a whole person approach to your well-being, spirit, soul, and body. Join me, your host, Dr. Lara, naturopathic doctor, entrepreneur, and a servant of Jesus Christ. We are not just a body, we are spirit and soul. It's time to integrate medicine and spirituality into our healing. Let's get started. Welcome back to Physician Heal Thyself, the podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Lara. Today we're going to continue on finding the root cause. Last episode we talked about spiritual disharmony, and this time we're talking about digging deeper for the root cause when it comes to diet, digestion, and stress. So let's dive into it. So the second major obstacle to cure is going to be diet, right? We talked about the spiritual disharmony last time, and that's very important to know. And as we continue into looking at those obstacles, right, as we're seeking for the root cause, oftentimes on the physical body, it is going to be diet, and then it's going to lead on to as well digestion and stress. And the reason why is, usually if there is a spiritual disharmony, there's this desire that we're wanting to fulfill or satisfy within us that we need spiritually, but we're not getting it. So we're looking for it in the physical self. So I always say, if you crave sweets, there's a bitterness in our soul and our spirit, and we're looking for the sweet things in life, right? We've lost connection of looking at the beautiful things, the sweet things in life. And so what we do is we want to eat it. And it is stress related. So they're all connected. It is a stress of we're not happy. There's so much going on. And because of that stress, it leads us to make poor decisions when it comes to eating. And especially if you tend to lean more on being an emotional or stress, eater, will make very poor decisions when things are out of balance spiritually and relationally with God, within us, with other people. We start to make different decisions with food, right? Plus, food is one of those things that culturally it has such an influence on us, and socially it has a huge influence on what we eat, how we eat, and so forth. So we're going to take a look into, one of the central teachings of Nature Cure is that, you are not merely what you eat. You are what you digest, absorb, assimilate, and eliminate. And let me tell you, it's not just physical, because this digestive system is also like a mental, psychological, and a spiritual way. Like, what are you mentally digesting? What are you emotionally, spiritually digesting? What are you absorbing spiritually, mentally, emotionally? What do you assimilate spiritually, mentally, emotionally, right? And then what are you eliminating? There's things, let me tell you, that you got to eliminate from your spiritual life, from mentally and emotionally and relationally. So this digest, absorb, assimilate, and eliminate is not just to your intestines, but it's in all those areas of our life. So I want you to think of the spiritual part of you, mentally, emotionally, and then the physical part of you. All those four categories, all of these concepts are kind of all connected, right? And so many people focus exclusively just on nutrition, and they ignore the digestion, and they ignore the integration of the soul, of the spirit, soul, and body, right? And so this person can be consuming an excellent diet and still suffer from poor stomach acid production, gut inflammation, dysbiosis, food sensitivities, constipation, or diarrhea, and malabsorption. And I have had these individuals in my clinic. They look fit. They have the most clean, the excellent clean diet. All the right macronutrients are there. Everything's calculated and measured, and they still have gut issues. And so like I said, go back to the last episode, 109, when I'm talking about the spiritual disharmony, because oftentimes those people, I will ask them, okay, you're doing all these things for your physical body and all of that. What are you feeding your spiritual self? What are you feeding your soul and your spirit? And they'll stay quiet. I've had people cry and have a conversation based on that. But the digestive system is going to serve, right, as a gateway between the external world and the internal environment, the gut. So digestion's compromised. When digestion is compromised, healing is going to become difficult, right? Because it is through the digestive system that you are absorbing all of these nutrients, right? And you're also getting rid of toxins. And so as a naturopathic doctor, we often ask questions such as, how's your appetite? How are you chewing? How's your chewing like? Are you chewing your food well? Are you in a hurry when you're eating? Are you watching TV? Are you distracted when you're eating? Are you eating under stressful situations or environments? Are you bloated? Is there gas? Any reflux, constipation, diarrhea, food cravings? How many times are you going to the bathroom? What's the color of your stool? Is there food, blood, mucus? All of those things give us information on the gut. If they're having abdominal pain, if they do, where's the abdominal pain? Because the pain in different regions of the abdomen will give us clues, right? They give us clues as to what could be causing this issue. So these seemingly simple questions can reveal enormous clues to us as naturopathic doctors to then, like I said, go on and decide what tests do we need to do and what do we need to do to treat it. So Nature Cure emphasizes returning to the foundational principles of eat real food, preferably fresh food that's grown from the earth, not in cans, not frozen. If possible, eat the foods that God created. That's what God told me back in, 2010, 2011, when I was praying about what's the solution, help me, what do I need to do? And God said, eat the food that grows on the earth. And so eat the food that God created it for us to eat. Minimize highly processed foods. Support proper meal timing. So based on your schedule, everyone's schedule is different. Are you having your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner, ideally 4 hours apart? Are you chewing thoroughly? Are you avoiding overeating? Are you eating enough protein and healthy fats so you can feel full and you're not eating all those simple carbs, right? Honor the hunger and satiety signals. So when you're full, stop eating. Even if there's food still left over in your bowl, in your plate, just save it for later. Many chronic conditions can improve when patients simply restore their healthy digestive function. And so food is not just fuel, right? But it is fuel for our body, and it's providing all the right nutrients for all the different biological processes that the body needs. And so just know that the goal is not dietary perfection, but it's creating conditions that support healing. So removing the foods that are causing inflammation and bringing the foods that are bringing healing and have all the healing factors, right? I always like to talk about plants, vegetables and fruits, especially whether they're green or red or, the purple, whatever colors are there, yellow, all the colors of the food and make it a rainbow, right, in your bowl and your plate of what you're eating. But all of these plants have phytonutrients, and phytonutrients is a part of the plant that protects the plant from environmental factors, from sun damage and so forth. And when we eat the plant fresh, we are eating those phytonutrients, and so then those nutrients help protect our cells from those same conditions. So this is why it's important to eat fresh, a salad or a juice, something like that. It's important to eat those fresh vegetables and fruits as well. and eliminate those foods. The foods that cause, so the top foods that I always say cause inflammation are going to be anything with sugar. And that could be some fruit for some people, right? If you're eating a lot of fruit, that could be causing more inflammation for you. So anything with sugar, processed sugars, especially dairies, can be inflammatory for people, gluten for some. In other individuals, it can have a sensitivity that causes inflammation with corn because of the GMO, if they're GMO corn, and also soy, if it's not organic, right? So we want, and especially if they're heavily sprayed with pesticides. It's a next conversation. So you want to make sure that you're eating the foods that are bringing healing and supporting. And so those are the things that you really want to. The obstacles to cure are going to remove the sugars, the dairy, the gluten, the soy, and the corn, or any other food that you notice causes you a negative reaction in your gut. Because we want to tame down some of the inflammation that the digestive system has. And then, depending on what's going on digestive-wise, we might, if there's parasites and stuff like that, we need to treat those things. We need to get it out of the system and then give the building blocks to the digestive system to repair and heal itself by giving it real food first. But then you might need some enzymes. You might need some things to help support making more hydrochloric acid. If the gut lining has been compromised, then we need to rebuild that protective barrier of the gut and find out what is the problem first, right? And there are some specialized testing, gut testing that we could do that's through collecting stool, and it'll give us all the microbiome, the good bacteria, bad bacteria, if there's any viruses, if there's any parasites, what are the digestive enzymes looking like, what are the inflammatory markers that are present for the digestive system. So a lot of testing that can go on for us to evaluate this. Now, in naturopathic medicine, there's a unique test. It's a tool very unique to us that no one else really knows, and that's a Carroll method. The Carroll method is taking a couple blood samples and then running it through a test to see what foods come up as not just sensitive, but it's actually, they're toxic. When you eat these foods, your body cannot properly break it down and digest it well. So it creates a toxic effect when you eat that food. It's almost like it stays in your gut and it just creates a toxic effect, which creates an inflammatory response. And so it'll tell you the main foods that you may be responding to. For example, for me, it's potatoes. Anything in the potato family. And it's true, if I eat it, I will get bloated. And it's painful bloatiness, like my abdomen hurts. And so, and it'll also tell you what two foods you can't combine that will cause that same toxic effect. So you might not be able to do a dairy and a fruit, or a fruit and a gluten. And so these are important things. I've done it for patients, and people who follow it, they really do see the benefits of it. They identify these foods I cannot eat at all because it creates a toxic effect in my body. It cannot digest it, so it results in toxic result, and it creates inflammation, and it creates a lot of other issues. It can be skin issues, not just gut issues, skin issues, brain health, like how you feel mentally and so forth. So those are some tests that we could do to assess digestion and sensitivities as well. We can do food sensitivity tests and so many other tests. So these are important things to take into consideration. Let's talk about the third part of the root cause, right? Identifying the root cause and removing it as it relates to stress. This is a big, major category. This third obstacle to cure it's a major problem. I don't think it's hidden. I know it's prominent in almost every person, and that is having this chronic stress, and it creates chronic symptoms. And so the body was designed to handle acute stress. That means once in a while. But it's not designed to handle this chronic, unrelenting activation, this constantly activation of your nervous system. You're not meant to be in sympathetic state 24/7. It's supposed to be there only for survival when you need it. So unfortunately, many people do live in this constant state of hurry and pressure, anxiety, overcommitting, feeling overwhelmed. They're sleep deprived, they're nutrient deprived, and they're information overloaded. And so, and of course, the nervous system is never truly resting. And if you add into perspective all the stress and trauma, if you look at all the trauma that person may have lived through their life, on top of all the current stressors, their nervous system just gets worn out, and they're never really in a true state of rest, of peace, of harmony. So from a physiological perspective, right, chronic stress is going to affect your digestive system. Just remember that vagus nerve is the one cranial nerve that leaves the brain, innervates through the heart and the lungs a bit, and then all the digestive system. So this is like the roots, right? The vagus nerve is like the one root from the brain that leaves, and it branches itself into the rest of the body. So it's going to affect the digestive system, hormones, blood sugar, your immune system, your sleep. It's going to cause inflammation. It can create a host of other things when you have chronic stress. So from a spiritual perspective, this chronic stress is going to oftentimes reflect a deeper issue. And, we begin to carry these responsibilities that belong to God, belong to others, but we feel like we need to carry that burden. And so we begin living as though everything depends on us. Like, I'm the one who has to do it. If I don't do it, it's not going to get done right. And there's no one that can help me out of this situation but me, right? And that makes you feel very lonely and isolated, and you start to depend on you for all the solutions of the world. And that's not true. And so this is where, I have to teach a lot of my patients, like, believe it or not, I have several patients that do not take a break. They work every day of the week, or they used to. Now they're taking time. They're taking their Sabbath, right? They're taking the day of rest, at least Sunday, preferably Saturday and Sunday if possible. I understand some people's, the type of work that they do, they're on high demand, so they might have to work a Saturday, but at least take one day off and really rest. It's very, very relevant to healing. And so the Sabbath is not just taking a day off, but it's an act of trust that God is going to provide for you no matter what. So you have to take time to spend time with your family, do things that are fun for you. Let your soul and your spirit have fun, and let that childlike come out of you and do that. And so that's very important. So nature cure, I like to think that nature cure and biblical wisdom is a beautiful convergence here of taking the principles of what God teaches us, and then, the things that are the natural laws of nature and the philosophies of naturopathic medicine, is that we need the body in order to heal, we need you to rest, and you need to be in a rest state. And that should be happening every night when you sleep. So you have to recognize that these rhythms work best together when you are resting. And it gives your nervous system a way to reset, right, from all the stress of the day that you've gone through, all the work that you've done. Like, you deserve this rest. It is your compensation as well. So sometimes patients will ask, what supplements should I take? And, you want to do what's less stimulating. If the person's struggling to get sleep, then I'm going to help support them in sleep. And no, I'm not going to give them melatonin. Melatonin's not for everyone, guys. If you are the kind of person that you like to be in control, usually melatonin will make this person have dreams that are not comfortable. So some people don't need melatonin. You need to check all the other hormones to see what's off, and what could be contributing to that. And so we need less stimulation leading up to bedtime so you can sleep more, maybe giving you some herbs that can help relax the nervous system throughout the day and at bedtime. You can integrate prayer. Read Psalms 23 and 91 before you go to bed. Pick one, do two, and that way you can go to sleep, have a restful sleep. There's some YouTube videos that are actually pretty interesting. They'll play like prayers over and over to help you sleep. I like that too. Create an environment that's silent in your room, that's dark. Make sure that in the morning when you wake up, go out and get sunlight. That your eyes are getting that sunlight because that helps break down the melatonin, and it helps the circadian rhythm, right? It helps the pituitary gland. And so spending time outdoors, getting rest, all of these things are going to help the nervous system naturally, right? It's going to help the nervous system to heal, to slow down, to be in that parasympathetic state, which is the rest and digest state. And this is why stress is really important, because it's going to help the nervous system. It's going to help your digestive system. It's going to give you more mental clarity for you to be able to focus and make better life decisions in your life. So, and of course, naturopathically, we have a lot of natural herbs. Passion flower is a good one, especially if you have a lot of mind chatter. It'll help to quiet the mind. But yeah, there's many other ones. Chamomile, passion flower combinations are good to calm down. But some people, I'm going to tell you, some people that's not enough. They have so much unhealed trauma. They have so much chronic stress, and their nervous system is so wired up. They need something more. But there are a lot of natural things that we could do. And this is where it's important to do the hormone test, neurotransmitter testing, because that gives me a good idea of what specifically to target. But even without that testing, there are some pretty good formulations, herbal combination formulations that I make with tinctures or supplements that I give to just help restore the nervous system. That is not the solution. That helps to just tone down the fire in the nervous system, to get them to the place where they're making better life decisions to restore, and then they don't need any of it, right? It's only temporarily. Now, if you are a high performing type of person, you have a business, you're just very, you're taking care of yourself, but you just have a lot of demands on you. I teach those individuals that it's important to support your systems, your body, to optimize yourself, because you are high performing, you have a lot going on. You have to invest. So you can't, if you're just working an 8 to 5 and you go home and there's no stress, it doesn't compare to someone who has a big company that they're operating, or they're an executive level, and there's physical demands, there's cognitive demands on you. There's a lot of demands from you. You should be investing into your health to optimize your nervous system first and foremost, obviously spiritually as well, but your nervous system, so that your body doesn't, dysregulate and then causes disease. If you're healthy for the most part, you should still optimize your nervous system. You can never go wrong with doing things that modulate the nervous system to be in that parasympathetic state, right? So these are the 2 of the 4 areas of the root cause category. The next episode, I'm going to talk about toxemia as a 4th obstacle to cure. And we'll talk more in depth about what that looks like, what that consists of. What are some of the things you can start asking yourself? Do you fit those categories? Because oftentimes, I'll tell you, people have chronic disease or skin rashes or things, and they're not thinking about toxins. They're not thinking about things like heavy metals, environmental chemicals, mold exposures, things of that sort that could be accumulating in your body, and they're not getting rid of it. They're not eliminating it at the right capacity that the body's able to, and they're not eliminating it effectively. So that can cause a buildup and create disease. So stay tuned for that episode on toxemia. But for now, I hope that you've enjoyed understanding the importance of taking a deep dive, right, as the 3rd obstacle to the 2nd and 3rd obstacles to cure, which is looking at the gut, the nutrition and the digestive system, and then the stress as well. They're very important. Every person, I address these things, because if I don't, I'll be missing out on very important clues that can help me to A, identify what tests do we need to take with this person, and B, what are the treatments, right? What are the things we're going to remove? What are we going to add to them so that they can be supported in these areas? Very important to address these. If you have any questions, you can feel free to, put your questions here. But I hope that you've enjoyed and you've taken a lot of great value from these conversations. Stay tuned, because we're going to continue on this naturopathic medicine. What is it? What do we do? Because I want people to really be educated and informed, that we don't use a cookie cutter approach. We don't just slap a Band-Aid, and we don't want to just give you a prescription every month for the rest of your life. We want you to create the opportunities for your own body, for that intelligence that God put in your body, right? That innate healing ability to kick in and restore and bring health back and wellness to you. So until next time, be blessed. Thank you for listening to Physician Heal Thyself, the podcast. If you like what you've heard, please like, share, and subscribe. Help this message reach more people who may need to hear it. Leave your comments. I want to know what you think. If you're interested in learning more about Raíces, visit our website at raicesndmedcenter.com. Until next time, be blessed.